You agree with that? That we should change our metrics somewhat from this quantifiable self to the happiness quality factor?
Yeah, I mean, I think it has to include both, right? It's like
Yeah.
we need to, some of those details that are quantifiable are important. And they're also not the answer. Yes. Living to 180 is not the answer to happiness. Living to 181 is not the answer to happiness. Living to 182 is not the answer to happiness. Like somebody will reach 110, then their goal will be 115, then it will be 120. And it's the non-reachable destination that we lose track of actually the journey, right?
Yes. And in some way that causes suffering. In some way that can be almost an initiating factor to disease and to a shortened life, right?
Absolutely.
That's the paradox of it.
Argue that. Yeah, absolutely.
So what are some of the ways we can increase both the quality of happiness of life and both the longevity in there and basically preserve our health? Because you're dealing with so much from East, West, modern, ancient. What are some of the things you've noted? And of course, I understand it's kind of probably going to be tying them all together and seeing who the person is. But is there something now that you're seeing as a trend maybe within what your work does that is starting to show, well, more people are showing that this is improving their quality of life where we are right now, or this?
Most of my work the last, let's say, 15 years has been with autoimmune disease and cancers and those sorts of things. And I would say, a very small number of those people had some form of toxic exposure that overwhelmed the system and led to a sort of disease state. But the majority had other stuff that they didn't resolve that accumulated in their systems that led to an inflammatory cascade, which led to disease, which led to symptoms, which led them towards me. And almost all of that is psycho-emotional in nature. It's the human journey. And in the Daoist model, we tend to look at the human experience in 3 layers. The Daoists love trinities, so they're always looking at things in components of 3s. But the fundamental of any human experience is survival. Gotta eat, gotta sleep. You need just the basics of survival. The next level of interaction for a sense of survival or meaning in our life is interaction with other humans. It's connection. It's the idea of community and having relationships with other people. And then the final layer of the human journey is differentiation. I am different than you because we've had relationship. We now know that you specialize in doing this. I specialize in doing that. We share some things in common, but we also recognize that we're different and you are better at certain things. And so I cede my to you because I know you have expertise in certain things, and maybe I'm better at certain things, and your power towards me because I'm better at certain things. And what the West seems to have done is we've gone from survival into this differentiation where it's like we're all individuals. I'm me, I'm different, special, I'm that. And we've lost that middle level of connection. And interestingly enough, of course, with the whole lock process because of COVID, the need for social connection is that much more amplified. And psychological trauma is all in that level of differentiation, of connection with others. It's how we grow up to become ourselves that causes us to process things in different ways, to lead lifestyles in different ways. And most of the people that I've seen with chronic degenerative diseases have some form of that where they will have an emotional trigger and then have physical symptoms that respond to the emotional trigger more than they're eating the wrong foods or they're constantly being exposed to asbestos over and over again or to this or that or whatever. There's this need to look at the human journey and allow for the human journey of our emotions that the West seems to have stepped away from. And in Western psychology, we call it shadow work or the subconscious work that was sort of framed by Jung, right, in Jungian psychology, who, interestingly enough, was very influenced by Taoism.
Yeah, I read that.
And I think that's an area that we want to take the wisdom of hacking and begin to learn and apply that to our emotional experiences. I think what we'll find is there isn't a hack for the emotional journey. Mm-hmm. There's just the work of really learning to be real with ourselves, to be honest, to call something what it is and be like, oh, I'm angry. Oh, I'm sad. And how do I process this grief, or how do I process this anger, so that I don't carry it around with me for a decade and end up with some sort of symptom that I don't want.
Yeah, I'm totally on board with you here with understanding that emotional disturbances and the emotional baggage we all have is a root cause of a lot of disease. And you see it. I mean, we see it all the time at our practice here, where you can address the physical pretty easily. You know, toxins can be removed, all these things, you know, solvents, everything else, pathogens, or you could target them now. We're very good at that. But when it comes to the emotional, that is difficult. That is because you got to be involved in it, right? There has to be a real acknowledgement that something is there. It's usually deep-seated, right? And it's something that's going to take some time to address. And a lot of people just don't want to. They want to sweep it under the rug. That, you know, relationship problem they had from when they were little with their parents or something, that's difficult to address. That's difficult to even see. Why is that suddenly causing this issue here? That's a physical ailment. How could you say that, right? What have you seen when you've spoken and tried to treat people? How are you getting them to engage this emotional side of healing, which is healing again? I never like it when people say mental health versus real health. It's like, it's all health. Come on. Once you separate it, you're actually making it something separate than your health, I feel like. Health is mental, physical, spiritual. It's all of it. Stop separating these different things.